Welcome to 24/7 Updates, your daily source for global events and breaking stories. Tension crackles across the Indo-Pacific this morning, August 1st, 2025. The world awakens to a region on edge, as uncertainty and anxiety ripple through capitals from Manila to Washington, Beijing to Tokyo. The Luzon Strait, a narrow but vital waterway, is suddenly thrust into the global spotlight. Reports from the Luzon Strait confirm a Chinese Coast Guard vessel is shadowing a Philippine supply ship near Mavulas Island, in the northernmost province of Batanes. The encounter is tense, with both crews on high alert, their every move watched by satellites and analysts worldwide. The Philippine vessel, on what was supposed to be a routine resupply mission, now finds itself at the center of a dangerous escalation. What began as a simple delivery of food and fuel has become a symbol of resistance and sovereignty in a region fraught with uncertainty. The world watches with bated breath as these remote windswept islands become a potential flashpoint in the intensifying rivalry between the United States and China. Newsrooms buzz with updates and social media erupts with speculation about what might come next. This is no random encounter, it's a calculated move in a high-stakes geopolitical chess game. Every decision, every maneuver is weighed for its potential to tip the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. In response to Beijing's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea and its threats toward Taiwan, the U.S. and the Philippines have ramped up their military presence in Batanes. Joint exercises, new outposts, and increased patrols signal a clear message. The Allies are prepared to defend their interests. Batanes, perched at the crossroads of major shipping lanes and just a stone's throw from Taiwan, is now invaluable territory. The Philippine government lodges formal protests, determined to assert its sovereignty and protect its people. Beijing, meanwhile, warns sternly against what it calls foreign interference, insisting that its actions are justified and necessary for regional stability. The United States, undeterred, reaffirms its defense commitments to the Philippines, emphasizing the importance of upholding international law and freedom of navigation in these contested waters. Every move here now carries immense weight, as military planners and diplomats alike recognize that a single miscalculation could spark a wider conflict. The stakes have never been higher, and the world holds its breath. The question remains, will Batanes become a symbol of stability and cooperation, or the trigger for a much larger conflict that could reshape the entire Indo-Pacific? Only time will tell, but for now, the world watches and waits. To truly grasp the stakes at play, just look at a map. Batanes, the Philippines' northernmost province, is a tiny cluster of islands, but its location is extraordinary. It sits closer to Taiwan than to Luzon, the main Philippine island, making it a unique outpost at the edge of two worlds. This proximity isn't just a geographical curiosity, it's a strategic game changer. Because of where it sits, Batanes becomes a critical staging ground for military operations, surveillance, and logistics in any potential conflict involving Taiwan. Its airstrips and outposts, though small, could quickly become hubs for rapid deployment, resupply, and intelligence gathering, giving whoever controls them a significant edge. The Luzon Strait, including the narrow Bashi Channel, is one of the world's most vital maritime choke points. It connects the South China Sea to the vast Pacific Ocean, serving as a gateway for both commercial and military vessels. Through these waters flow not only global trade but also the undersea internet cables that link Asia to the world. Control over this strait means control over the arteries of commerce and communication, an advantage that could tip the balance in any regional crisis. For the U.S. and its allies, Batanes offers a perfect vantage point for monitoring Chinese naval and air movements. It's an ideal location for hosting advanced radar, surveillance systems, and rapid response military assets, all within striking distance of Taiwan and the Chinese mainland. In military terms, the islands act as an unsinkable aircraft carrier, extending the reach of U.S. and Philippine forces deep into contested waters. This presence can deter aggression and project power across the region. For China, a fortified Batanes is a direct threat, potentially bottling up its navy within the so-called First Island chain. It could limit China's ability to break out into the Pacific, restricting its naval ambitions and freedom of movement. Beijing sees a neutral or friendly Batanes as essential for its own naval strategy and any campaign involving Taiwan. The islands could serve as a launch pad or a barrier depending on who holds them. In this high-stakes contest, the islands are more than just territory. They're a strategic asset for the U.S. and its partners, and a potential dagger pointed at China's underbelly, threatening its access and security. The contest for Batanes is about far more than lines on a map. It's about the future balance of power in Asia, the security of global trade, and the ability of nations to shape the region's destiny. Whoever controls Batanes doesn't just hold a speck on the map, they hold a key to the region's future, shaping the destiny of Asia for decades to come. The focus on Batanes is backed by a wave of rapid infrastructure upgrades, transforming the province's landscape at a pace never seen before. Roads are being paved, bridges reinforced, and new facilities are rising from the ground, all signaling a new era for this remote region. These projects are funded and supported by the U.S., whose involvement is visible at every major site. Ports are expanding to accommodate larger vessels and increased activity, with American and Filipino engineers working side by side. A new naval facility on Mavulas Island is being built to host larger Philippine Navy vessels, enabling them to conduct sustained patrols and maintain a stronger presence in these strategic waters. Basco Airport's runway is being lengthened, not just for commercial flights but to handle military transport planes and potentially even fighter jets. This upgrade will allow for faster response times and greater flexibility in both civilian and military operations. Officially, these upgrades are said to support tourism and disaster response, but the military value is unmistakable as the infrastructure doubles as a backbone for defense and rapid mobilization. Longer runways and new ports mean troops and supplies can be rapidly deployed in a crisis, turning Batanes into a logistical hub for both humanitarian and security operations. Under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the U.S. is building logistics hubs, fuel depots, and advanced communications facilities, ensuring that the region is always ready for any contingency. While Batanes isn't yet an official EDCS site, joint projects are moving forward at a steady pace, signaling a clear shift in focus from internal security to external defense and regional stability. The U.S. provides not just funding, but also technical expertise, equipment, and training, making Batanes the front line of a new, more assertive strategy in the region. The message to Beijing is unmistakable. The Philippines is no longer a passive observer, but an active participant in shaping the security of its northern frontier. Batanes is rapidly transforming into a hardened outpost of deterrence, standing as a symbol of resilience and readiness at the edge of the Philippine archipelago. Military exercises in Batanes are ramping up alongside infrastructure. The annual Balikatan drills now focus on defending Batanes and the Luzon Strait, with live fire exercises and joint amphibious operations. U.S. Marines have deployed to Batanes for the first time, training with Philippine forces on coastal defense and rapid deployment. These exercises build real interoperability, ensuring both militaries can operate as one in a crisis. Smaller, specialized trainings, like maritime interdiction and engineering projects, keep a near-constant U.S. presence in the region. The new Philippine naval outpost on Mavulas, supported by the U.S., serves as a tripwire for immediate response. Together, permanent outposts and joint drills create a layered defense signaling firm resolve to defend every inch of Philippine territory. Officials frame Batanes' new infrastructure as dual-use, vital for disaster relief, but also for military operations. Batanes, often hit by typhoons, benefits from improved ports and airports for aid delivery and evacuation. This humanitarian angle provides diplomatic cover, making it harder for China to object without seeming callous. Yet no one is fooled. Runways for aid can also land military planes, ports for relief can host warships, fuel depots and warehouses serve both disaster response and military logistics. The blurred line between humanitarian and military use puts China in a bind. Protest too much, and it looks heartless. Stay silent, and the U.S.-Philippine position strengthens. This dual-use strategy is a clever way to advance security goals while maintaining plausible deniability. The real contest is over who controls the narrative and the ground. Batanes overlooks the Bashi Channel, a deep-water passage critical for both navies and global commerce. China's nuclear submarines use this route to reach the Pacific, forming a key part of its nuclear deterrent. A U.S.-Philippine presence in Batanes enables deployment of sensors and patrols, making it harder for Chinese subs to move undetected. In conflict, anti-submarine assets could be staged here, threatening China's strategic capabilities. The Bashi Channel is also a vital artery for shipping and undersea internet cables. Disruptions here would have global economic consequences. Control of this choke point gives the U.S. and Philippines leverage, potentially threatening blockades or cable disruptions in a crisis. Even the threat of such actions acts as a powerful deterrent. Batanes is the gatekeeper to Asia's critical artery. For the Philippines, Batanes is at the heart of a delicate balancing act. President Marcos Jr. has strengthened ties with the U.S. to counter Chinese pressure, especially after years of harassment in the South China Sea. Granting the U.S. greater access signals, Manila won't be bullied, but it must also manage its vital economic relationship with China. Open conflict with Beijing would be disastrous, so Manila insists its actions are defensive, not provocative. Domestically, some Filipinos fear the U.S. presence could drag the country into a superpower conflict. The government must juggle internal dissent and international diplomacy, ensuring cooperation in the North also helps with challenges in the West. Every move is scrutinized for signs of tilting too far toward either superpower. The Philippines faces threats on two fronts, the South China Sea and the Luzon Strait. Securing the nation's future means leveraging alliances, without becoming a pawn. Batanes' transformation is sending ripples across the Indo-Pacific. Japan quietly approves, seeing a stronger U.S.-Philippine posture as vital for its own security and sea lanes. Tokyo is deepening cooperation with Manila, forming a de facto trilateral partnership with the U.S.-ASEAN countries are cautious, concerned about China's power, but wary of being forced to choose sides. Some fear the buildup could provoke China, destabilizing the region. Australia and European nations have increased their own defense engagement, signaling support for a rules-based order. China, meanwhile, condemns the U.S. presence, warning the Philippines of economic consequences and stepping up its own military activities. The region is caught in a dangerous cycle of action and reaction. The fate of Batanes now symbolizes the uncertainty facing the Indo-Pacific. Best case, the buildup deters aggression, and Batanes becomes a quiet guardian of peace. More likely, a tense standoff emerges, militarization, close encounters, and constant risk of miscalculation. In the worst case, open conflict erupts over Taiwan, and Batanes becomes a battlefield. The island's strategic value in peace would make them a target in war. Diplomats and military planners are working to avoid this nightmare scenario. The choices made in Washington, Beijing, and Manila will decide Batanes' future. The world now watches to see if Batanes remains a peaceful home, or becomes the eye of a geopolitical storm.